In this video and series of the next few videos, I'm discussing some pro tips to help you on your art journey. Today, we're discussing taking a quality reference photo. Hi, I'm John of SharpenedArtist.com. I create and teach art to people just like you. If you're like me, you want to know all there is to know about your craft, and you especially want to know how to improve. That's exactly why I created the Pro Tips Workbook. You can get it right now. It's totally free. There's a link in the video description below. If you don't want to wait on these videos, just go ahead and download the workbook and you'll have them all there in one spot. So this is the second installment of the Pro Tip series. So today I'm discussing another tip, and this one is taking a quality reference photo. Now, it's important that you work from a good reference photo that is clear and in focus. I've often seen artists decide that they're going to take a reference photo that is subpar and suddenly make it better somehow. I can tell you from experience that's extremely difficult to do and not a good choice. If you're using a DSLR, take your photo in RAW. Don't use JPEG, or use both, but take it in RAW. Why RAW? Because you want to be the one who is in total control of the post-processing of that image, of all your images. You want to take as many images as possible. I usually take around 100, but you also want to be the one to decide on the contrast, on the exposure level, and the list can go on and on. If you take it in JPEG only, then you've limited your options. There's only so much post-editing that you can do. So again, you take as many photos as you can and you take them in RAW if RAW is an option for you. If it's not, then you've got to make sure that you get your camera settings very accurate and correct. If you have the option though of taking it just in RAW, then the reason you want to do that is so that you can change it so many ways. Now, I know that's hard to believe, and it's kind of an esoteric kind of concept, so I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to take some images in RAW and in JPEG, and I want to show you the post-processing and how difficult and how easy it can be. So again, this is part of the Pro Tip series, and if you don't want to wait on these videos, go ahead and click the link below to get the workbook right now. It's totally free. So let me show you really quickly then on my camera how I would do this. Each camera will be different, but I just want to show you from what I'm looking at on this one what I would do. So I can go here where it says RAW. That's, whoops, turn that back on. That's the option that I have here, and hopefully you can see this. So I can shoot in RAW, and it changes the file size if I'm looking at it up here, and I can shoot in medium RAW or small RAW from a 5 meg to an 11 meg. I don't really want to go a whole lot bigger than that. That's if I'm going to print something that is just ginormous. And then down here on JPEG I have, whoops, turn it back on. On JPEG I have it set where I'm not taking any JPEG shots, but I can set it to like a small JPEG file or a medium JPEG file. And if you look up here, it tells you the dimensions of the particular file. So if I want to share something quickly and rely on that post-processing in JPEG, perfectly fine to do that. But I have to remember that it's going to take up room on my hard drive as well. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and shoot some shots, and we'll see how we do this post-processing. Okay, I've got a setup here, and I've got some block shapes just arranged here for some type of still life. I'm not sure if I'd really want to draw this just the way these are arranged, but for this demonstration I think it'll make a lot of sense. And what I'll do is change that setting. Again, over here I've got it on medium RAW. I could do it small RAW. I think I'll do that for this demonstration. And then I'll set this fine for fine compression, I believe it is, the image quality for JPEG. So I've got it set to both now. So it's going to take a RAW image and one of the best JPEG images. So let's see how it will do with this. So I'm going to turn the back screen on so you can see it. What I've got it on is ISO 400. I've got the shutter speed at 320, f-stop at 3.5. But if I don't have the settings just exactly perfect, I'm going to go ahead and focus, and on this block, take my shot. It looks a little dark. Go back and look at it again. It's looking a little bit dark, but you know, we're going to go ahead and go with that. And we'll see what we can do with a JPEG as opposed to a RAW image. Okay, so I'm on my desktop. I can select the two photos that I just took, drag those down into the Photoshop program in order to open them. So you immediately notice what it did here. The JPEG, I'm going to move this one aside for a moment. The JPEG image, it opened up right inside the application window in Photoshop. But the RAW file that I took, it opens it up in Camera Raw because it knows there's a whole lot of other options that I have and the control that I have with this. So first thing I'm going to do obviously is increase the exposure, and I can increase that contrast a little bit, get some more highlights in there. I can increase the detail in the shadows. When I do that, it introduces the noise in the back because of my ISO setting, or I could decrease that. I'm just going to leave it about where it was. The whites, I can make those a little brighter. Blacks, I can bring those down, or I can increase that. I think I'm going to put it right about there. Clarity, can put it up in here a little bit. Just adds a little more detail in there. Dehaze, I kind of like a little bit. And vibrance, turn that up a little bit. This temperature, I'm going to make it slightly more warm than it was. And tint, about where it was isn't too bad. So you notice the other thing I can do though is go over here to detail, and if you notice here, I've got a lot of grain, used to be called, it's called noise now. And I can get rid of that. I can increase my sharpening here and the radius and the masking, but then under luminance, if I increase that and the smoothness, I can eliminate most all of that noise. Now, I sacrifice just a little bit of detail whenever I do that, but still, I've got a crisp image now. I'm going to go ahead and open that sucker up. There it is. Okay, there's a lot more I can do even inside here of Photoshop now in the camera, in the application proper. So I go over here though to my JPEG image, and let's see what options we have over here. The brightness, that's as far as I can go. It's still too dark. Contrast, I can bring it down. I can go over here. It's as much as I can do with it. That's it. That's it. Now I can bring that a lot darker, yeah, because it's already too dark. What about levels? Let's go here to exposure. Bring that up a little bit. Offset, I'm going to leave the offset and gamma correction alone. But I can bring that up a little bit. Vibrance, I can change that a little bit. The one thing I'm never going to be able to do too much is get rid of all of that noise in there. So that looks a little bit better, but let's compare it to this image. I think there's no question which image you'd rather work with. I think I'd rather work with one that I can see more detail, and clear winner here is the raw image. Now when I go to save that, I can say save as, and come over here, do save a copy, and I can select JPEG. I can call this whatever I want. And base standard quality level, I can select about a 10. It should be fine.
All right, I think for the purposes of this video, that's all that I want to cover here.
So be sure and subscribe so you don't miss the next tip, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay sharp.